This is the new 2024 GMC Acadia, and they have done a ton of changes inside, outside, underneath the hood to make this vehicle stand out from its competition. And in this video, we are telling you everything you need to know about this all-new world debut. Now, the Acadia has been out for quite a number of years now, and the first thing you need to know is the new Acadia has gotten quite a bit larger. It's longer, it's wider, it's taller, but that length is a really big deal because the Acadia has grown by a whopping 10.6 inches, and over 8 inches of that have been in the wheelbase. So the Acadia has gone from kind of a small entry in the segment to now pretty large, which is a big deal, especially when it comes to cargo capacity, which is now 80% up behind the third row. That's great for folks that have families, that have dogs, that want to, go on their vacations, and we'll take a look at that in a second. Now let's start out by talking about what's underneath the hood. The old Acadia was powered by a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6. Well, that has been replaced by one sole engine option. So now the only engine option available in the Acadia is a 4-cylinder. But don't think that's a downgrade because power is up in a big way. So this new 4-cylinder makes 326 horsepower and 328 pound-feet of torque. It's a turbocharged unit, of course, mounted transversely, and this engine is related to the Silverado engine, that 2.7, right, that they use in the Silverado and the Sierra. And it now has an 8-speed instead of the outgoing 9-speed. And I asked why, and they said in a vehicle of this size, this nature, they were able to get better fuel economy, better performance out of the 8-speed. That 9-speed just wasn't needed. Now what's interesting is that the sister vehicle to the Acadia was also recently introduced, the new Traverse. Now the Traverse also has a 2.5 liter transversely mounted turbocharged 4-cylinder, but the power number on that is a little bit less. So the Chevrolet makes about 315 horsepower, which is some 11 horsepower less than what the GMC makes. Now what we're looking at here is the new top dog. This is the Denali trim, and the Denali is about as luxurious as you're going to find in this segment. I mean, we're nearing Cadillac levels of luxury here. And from the outside, they've toned down some of the chrome and they've butched up the front end. So they wanted the front end of the new Acadia to look more truck-like, right? More in line with the new Canyon, the new Sierra trucks. So this is a fantastic blue with kind of this muted chrome grille. They've toned down some of the chrome. And we also see a black, shiny lower fascia there. And then when we come along to the side, you'll see these wheels are new as well. The Denali comes standard with 20-inch wheels, but these are 22s, baby. So this is a really large wheel size relative to this class. Looks great, fills out that wheel arch nicely. Making your way down the side here, we've got the painted mirror, Denali badging along the side with that shiny black lower fascia. We do have the roof trim up here. One thing that they've emphasized in the design of this vehicle is they wanted to really slim down the C-pillar. So we've got a much smaller C-pillar, much larger quarter window for some additional visibility. And then as we come along to the rear, every exterior light in the Acadia now is full LED, so full LED tail lights with this kind of C-clamp design similar to the front, GMC badging on the lower right there, and then the quad exhaust, which is really cool. So design is based off what Chevrolet has done with the C8 Corvette, and you certainly see that in kind of the squared off nature, and then they really want you to know that this thing is a Denali. But Zach, let's do this. Let's go onto the inside. I'll have you open up the passenger door because the changes are not just exterior. The interior of the Denali has been completely redone, as it has been on every other Acadia. And the designer was telling me that this interior is inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright architecture. So you've got this upper binnacle section here with this little, it almost looks like a roof that extends down across this waterfall screen. This is a 15-inch screen and it's portrait style. Now you're probably thinking the Traverse has a 17-inch screen, which is true, but that is mounted entirely different in the vehicle. So the Traverse, it's mounted sideways, kind of up high. Here, the GMC is now mounted vertical, and this is the start of a new design language for GMC. So they're moving in a new direction. It's got a new infotainment system. And let's talk about this. Now, it is powered by Google. It is a tile-based infotainment, which is really cool. And you can see There's a couple of different configurations here. You can set it up to where you have different tiles, or you can expand those tiles. You got new graphics throughout, and then you've got this large and in charge volume knob, which reminds me of what Ford has done in the Mach-E. This is always a volume knob. It's always in the same position, but it's great that, you know, at least they're still committing to having a volume knob, and the climate control never moves. So you have climate control down here across the bottom of the display, which is always an easy access, and then you've got your controls for your heated and ventilated seats, which are now built into the screen. And then I love these kind of toggle switches at the base of the screen to change the temperature, the fan speed, all of that. Feels really premium. Now we do have a open pore wood finish across this Denali, and the little hideaway cubby now reveals the wireless charger. They've moved the shifter up here onto the steering column, which frees up space in the center stack. So now they can have the wireless charger, 2 large cup holders, and then a super deep center console there for lots and lots of storage. Now beyond that, something you'll notice, this light across the top of the steering wheel. The Acadia is now available with Super Cruise on just about every trim except for the base model. So over 400,000 miles of hands-free driving is available on the Acadia. Of course, it's eyes on, hands off, but on a road trip, it's a fantastic feature. You know, it started in Cadillacs, started on the Hummer EV, that kind of thing. Now it's making its way down to the Acadia. It's the Gen 2s with those automatic lane changes, that kind of thing, which is really cool. And then we got to talk about the seats. This light gray leather with these perforated finishes and the diamond quilting, the double stitched diamond quilting on the top with the brown chocolate side bolsters. Really a beautiful design. They feel much more comfortable than the previous Acadia, and the whole interior feels more roomy. GMC says best in class front seat legroom as well. And Zach, you want to look at that speaker grill? That's part of the Denali package here. We got these stainless steel speaker grills and 16 speakers, which is just awesome. But of course, people buy GMC Acadias for their family hauling capability. And if you want an 8-seater configuration, you can still have it. The base trim is a true 8-seat configuration, but then if you get the Denali or the new AT4, which we'll check out in a future video, that's a 7-seater only with these big captain's chairs. They do slide to and fro. They do recline a little bit, nice and comfortable. Down here we have separate climate control with heated seats for second row passengers, automatic climate control with our fan speed adjustment. And once again, like, there's just a big sensation of airiness in here. So lots of headroom, right? You can see just the sheer amount of headroom I have. And then as we make our way to the third row, let's see how this works. First time ever doing this. I am on the launch of this program, so give me some grace if I'm not super good at this. Oh, there's a little button too, Zach. Look at that. So if you have a child seat, you can actually fold that seat forward. And check this out, Zach. So put the seat back into a position. Now, legroom, I am pushed up against the seat. It is adjustable forward and back. So I could make this work, certainly. It is a 3 abreast third row. I think the middle seat would probably be a little tight, but what I love is how scalloped now the headliner is. So I've got good headroom even at 6 feet tall. This rear seat feels very, very good. And time to check out the trunk, right? So overall storage capacity, if you were to fold down every row, is up about 24%, but it's the behind the third row space, which is really up in a big way. So power liftgate, of course, push the button, that's gonna glide forward, and there you can see what used to be a pretty small and relatively narrow space has now gotten quite usable. And for a vehicle that's designed to hold kids and dogs, right, that's a big deal. And this makes this vehicle much more attractive. We do also have power folding second and third rows. You can see how that goes down. Scoot that seat forward and that would go down completely. And then the third row you can raise up. Second row you do have to raise up manually. And then underneath the floor, huge cubby. So you can hide away your cubby, hide away stuff in this cubby, and you can see there's even a space underneath the cubby built in for a spare tire. Now there's still a lot we don't know about this Acadia Denali. They haven't announced pricing and they have not announced fuel economy, but we do know when it's going on sale, which is Q1 of 2024, and it will tow up to 5,000 pounds, which is pretty much in line with the outgoing Acadia. But overall, it's more butch, far more luxurious, and I'm really impressed with that new 15-inch screen, which, by the way, does still come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So there was a lot of discussion back and forth. Is GMC going to discontinue that? It's sticking around at least for the foreseeable future. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Big thank you to Zach behind the camera. We'll see you in the next video.